Is this parent intentionally raising this girl? Is this parent having an open conversation with this girl? Sometimes these parents always come in when trouble has come, when the girl is pregnant, when the girl has been abused. He said, my friend said I don't have nyash. So you see, the influence girls have yes. So she was certain that her friends are more beautiful, are more intelligent than her, making her almost depressed. So you see the kind of energy friends have over the girls.
That sounds like the husband is the king and the wife should just submit.
Submission is mutual. A girl is supposed to understand mutual honor, honesty, accountability for both partners.
Why are so many girls crying out there?
The foundation is ignorance. When people are equipped, informed, they will have lesser risk of finding themselves as victims. Our girls are growing in a world that has defined them before they meet the world to define themselves. And this girl is struggling with a lot of misconceptions, misinformation that open her to a lot of tears because she is living in an assumption world. She is not certain about any decision she's taking and live within a society and a world that has a lot of demands on her.
That sounds like the girl child is living in a world that is shaped against the girl child.
We cannot say generally that the world is against the girl child, but a girl child is generally vulnerable due to she's limited by nature in the sense that she is a secondary gender to the man, for example. So meeting a world that has already dictated the standards, how she should be successful, how she should be beautiful. We see a lot of things today and you realize that girls are trying to fit into a standard that has already been defined. We will not say that a girl lacks potentials or is limited by God, but the girl has been limited by information, misinformation, standards that have been set before she finds herself in those spaces, conversations that she meets that are weightier than her ability to comprehend. So all of this makes her to find herself tearing because she is bound to make mistakes because she has not been actually prepared to the challenges that the world has put before her.
In your book, you say these pains are deep within the girl child, and your explanation shapes this around stereotypes. It's your argument that the girl child is living in a world full of stereotypes and she needs to overcome those stereotypes?
The girl child is living in a world of stereotypes. The world has already defined maybe an age bracket that the girl should get married, have children. So all of those stereotypes and designs that have been made for the girl. So the girl now is struggling to meet up targets that have been placed on her. And in the course of doing that, she is not prepared for those challenges. And in the course of that, she finds herself in a lot of wounds. So sometimes these pains are so deep in her that she even do not know how to express herself. She does not even know who can actually understand her. I have talked to girls that said, even my parents, I don't feel free to express myself to them. So now the girl child is finding herself in a world that she feels that even the church cannot help her, the community cannot help her, parents cannot help her. And that is why most of them, they gather in their circle of girls and they begin to try to educate themselves. And we all know that that kind of education cannot give a balanced behavior in our girls. So these are some of the reasons that the girl now remains in a position where she tears and she cries herself to sleep, cries herself along the way, because actually in that their sphere, they cannot really come up with the right decision on how to travel through the challenges of life.
You are Nam Elena. You are a professional counselor, a teacher, and an advocate for the girl child.
In my book, I looked at the causes why girls cry. So in the part 1 of A Girl Without Tears, I actually brought out those reasons why girls cry, and I established it internally and externally. Internally means that the girls themselves, they find themselves in situation where they are the ones responsible for their tears. Just like I mentioned a while ago about peer groups. So sometimes these girls find themselves amongst friends who can mislead them. Sometimes they find themselves exposed to social media exposure that can end up wounding them, and they read online, and their interactions may lead her into her own tears. Wrong choice of intimate relationship also lead girls to cry. So we are now out not just to look for the problem, but now to search for the solutions for this problem. So we are proposing that counselors, space of girls empowerment, the Ministry of Women Empowerment, we may join forces how we can heal this girl. So a girl without tears erases a preventive and a curative measure whereby a girl who is not yet wounded can be properly prepared in occupying herself in tears. Meanwhile, there is still hope for a girl who is in tears, for her to be redeemed, for her to be healed mentally, healed physically, and show the right path in which she can take in order for her to have a balanced life and to live.
That sounds like deep research. Of course, this is a product of a book that you've written. And one of the arguments you make in this book is, this book is not for girls only, it is both for girls and for parents. Is that by any chance saying that the parents are currently not well equipped to take care or to bring up the girls in a way that those tears do not materialize?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. I will categorically say this because working with girls and the questions I ask them and the information they already carry is very limited. I'm a teacher by profession, and standing before my students, I always have this limitation how to guide them through. And one thing I notice amongst the students is that I always suggest that there is some limitation as far as parental guidance is concerned. So now, since the research is about looking for a girl without tears, how do we find this girl? The society, the government, the clergy groups cannot help a girl whose parents have actually neglected everything, because the home remains the first classroom, the parents remains the first teachers, and they stand as the major front line to guide a girl child. So the society cannot actually succeed with a girl whose parents have actually neglected her upbringing in totality. A girl is born in a family, the girl is being raised in the family. I will categorically say this in clear terms without any fear of controversy, to say that once a child has already crossed 10 years to 12 years, it is very difficult for us to give another turn to that child's life. So that is why from birth, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 8 years, that is the responsibility of the parents, because the child is confined in a home. The child has more time with the parents. Assumedly that is what the parents are supposed to be doing in order to bring up this child. If the parents have done the right things, we want to believe that we'll find a girl without tears in the society.
Are you sure you can actually find a girl without tears in society?
We are not saying that a girl will never cry. That is not what the book is saying. The book is trying to give tools, equip a girl with skills, with information, with mentorship that can help reduce the risk of the girls in tears in our society. I started by saying that basically the tears of our girls are based on ignorance. If these girls are informed, they will be able to take correct, wise, and informed decisions that concern their lives. No human being can be directed and told that this path is a path which is dangerous, and that human being will still force their way through it. So I so believe that if a girl is actually raised categorically, we know that generally there are some exceptions of children, no matter the parental guidance, they may still go their own way. But we want to look at the majority, not the exception, whereby a child has actually been given the information, grown categorically, body awareness, boundaries, self-esteem, grown in that way with consent on what she wants about her life. This girl can actually live a life without tears, reduce the risk of tears. Mind you that we are not just talking about tears that just come out of emotions, because the girl, the female nature find it easy to tear. Sometimes just for nothing, sometimes just for emotional expression, they can always tear. But we're talking about those deep pains that can actually cause a girl to be wounded to an extent that she can even enter into depression. These are the kind of tears that we are trying to cure in the girl child.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us up to this moment. If you are still watching us now, it means you're finding this conversation important and relevant to you, your family, your friends. There is only one way we can help you to bring more important, enlightened, and outspoken guests like Madam Nam Eleno to here. It is if you support us by striking the subscribe button, leaving a comment, and sharing this conversation, so the systems know we are doing a fantabulous job here for you and for us. It is not every day we find people who produce documents of this value and they share the knowledge for free. So kindly do that for us. Coming back to the book, you say in the book that girls are sometimes influenced by the company they keep. Show me your friend and I tell you who you are.
Exactly.
And this is alluding to the peer pressure you were talking about.
I'll just give an example of one of my mentees in the University of Boya. She was actually raised by parents who were intentional. But getting into the university, she found herself in a peer group that had to mislead her. I came across her when she was already pregnant. She gave me the history of her life. She grew up in the church with parents that were intentional. But when she got to the university, the kind of friends that she was moving with, all of them were living wayward lives. And they influenced her to say that this is a normal way of life. There is nothing wrong in having a boyfriend. There is nothing wrong in clubbing. And she joined suit. Even at the point when she got pregnant, they were telling her to abort the child, that almost all of them have gone through that same path. But there is a conscience that prick her. That is how she came to me. And I cancel her out of that idea. And she actually birthed the child. This is a testament to say that indeed the company the girls keep may lead them into some kind of attitude that can lead them into tears. And this girl had to drop out of school. This girl is at home with this child. So we see that now she is in tears. What caused the tears? The peer group that she kept. So that is why we encourage our girls to be watchful of the peers they keep. We are not altogether say that all peers are bad. We have positive peer pressure and negative peer pressure. So we call upon the girls to be able to identify a peer pressure which is negative, a peer pressure that it is competitive, academically, success, to see that all of the group, they succeed. That should not be a bad peer. But the girls should be able to identify if the group they are keeping is not building them positively, orientating them in the right way, then they should avoid such. If academically success, to see that all of the group they succeed, that should not be a bad peer. But the girls should be able to identify if the group they are keeping is not building them positively, orientating them in the right way, then they should avoid such group.
What I'm hearing from you sounds like this book is not a textbook. It's a framework, a guide, a workbook, an orientation manual or something.
Yeah. A Girl Without Tears is actually, I termed it, a comprehensive roadmap for a girl, raising a girl from birth through adulthood. It means that it is a step-by-step movement with a little girl who has been born and her femininity defined by her parents, her sexuality defined, her identity defined. Let her be able to embrace herself. Let her be able to know who she is. Let her be able to understand her peculiarity, so that as she's meeting the world, she's able to tell the world who she is, not the world telling her who she is. Now we have a world where the world has defined how a beautiful girl should look. That's why we have a lot of issues in our society. Girls are doing surgeries because this girl is trying to fit into acceptance in the world. They are struggling that the world should accept them, so they're trying to fit themselves into the standards of the world. But if this girl has been raised step by step, stage by stage, for this girl to understand herself, understand her world, make the world to understand who she is, make girls are doing surgeries and all of that, because this girl is trying to fit into acceptance in the world. They are struggling that the world should accept them, so they're trying to fit themselves into the standards of the world. But if this girl has been raised step by step, stage by stage, for this girl to understand herself, understand her world, make the world to understand who she is, making the world to understand that the world should not define her, because she has been crowned even before the world defined her. So the Girl Without Tears is not just a book. It is a guideline. It is a manual for life for a girl child. I call it not just a one-time read over of a book. It should be like the Bible of the girl as she moves along her life's way.
You are telling viewers that the book is available for them, and Beyond Africa is going to put the link to the book in the description, so parents and girl children should buy the book. Am I right to say parents and girl children only?
Parents, girls, mentors, church counselors, even a boy child is a parent tomorrow. What the parent has not discussed with the child, the friends are speaking, social media is speaking, and a lot is speaking to the girl. And I said that a girl whose parents did not speak to her at a very early age, the parent cannot speak to that girl at the midway of teenagehood, because the child has not been hearing the voice of the parent. He has been hearing the voice of the mates, he has been hearing the voice of the friends, and those are the voices the child has grown to believe in. But if parents start by speaking to their children honestly, from age appropriately, from zero as they grow up, preteens, teenage age, young adults, I think that is going to curb a lot of mishap that is happening to our girls in the society today.
You mentioned social media, and the Minister of Women Empowerment and the Family in Cameroon recently issued a press release in which she says the attitudes are manifested through the posting of inappropriate content on social media that promote the use of harmful substances, the quest for easy money, as well as extreme moral depravity, thereby trivializing violence and immorality. Here she is expressing her deep concern on the resurgence of behavior contrary to ethical standards, social and family values observed among young girls.
Indeed, when I saw the communique, I was like, wow, this has become a national cry, because it has really been a burden in my heart when I talk to the girls, because it is not easy. It is not easy. Sometimes to even talk them out of what they are doing, it becomes a challenge. Some even escape and they don't come again. So this is really impressive to know that the Minister of Women Empowerment has stepped into the shoes to ensure that our girls can actually rewrite their lives, rewrite their attitudes, because the social media has come at a time when these children, I can say at a time when parents are not even really focused on the children. That is a very narrow part of it. because in the years, our mothers, we can applaud our mothers that they were really present, they were really focused, even though they were doing just what they could do according to their own understanding per their time. But now, even the education that most parents of today they carry, but we parents, we have neglected some very essential aspects about parenting. We feel that providing material provision, school fees, clothing, it's enough in parenting. But these girls are growing in a world that speaks to them, parents them online, and they are meeting challenges, expectations that is beyond their comprehension. So going to the social media, we see a lot of irregular content posted. And now it is like when you post something very normal and neutral and natural, it does not ignite likes, comments. So now the girls, in their ignorance that they have not been raised to understand the dangers of all of this. I was just talking to a girl some days ago. I say, in our days, we didn't have social media, though we were on site. A girl would not even want to walk past streets, identify that she was walking with a boy. But today, you are on online platforms and posting anything you just find, and you post. Some of them, they call it meme. They think that is just for laughter, but it is more than what they think. But around it, I see a lot of ignorance. So, like just in my book, I don't want to blame the girls altogether. I'm calling on the Minister of Women Empowerment, as she has started. I'm calling on mentors. I'm calling on church counselors. I'm calling on activists. Let us stand for the girls. They are growing in a generation where the noise is beyond their comprehension. They cannot really be able to evaluate and shift the information they are receiving. Parenting now has gone beyond the four walls of our homes. The social media is talking very loud, and sometimes I feel for them. I feel that they are even confused. They don't even know what to do. They don't know what to select. That is why we are calling on parents. We are calling on mentors. We are calling on the government
Professional education
to
is
see
good. Social
how we
education
can
is best.
help our girls.
Because a child
We
who
need
has
to
been-
teach
has
these
been
girls
trained
social
professionally
education.
and lack
I tell my students
social
often that
interaction is still in a web for the society. So this is really a wake-up call for all of us, all the stakeholders surrounding the girl, the parents, the government, and anyone who still believes in right living. Because we are now going to a society where it looks as if standing alone right seems standing wrong. But I always say that it is better to stand alone and stand right. So this is really a time for all of us to sit up, for all of us to caution the children what they post online, to make them to understand the intensity of their actions, the likes, the comments, monetization that is going on online. It is not as important as their dignity. It's not important as their self-worth. It's not important as who they are. And this is why in my book, I actually really call on parents to define their children, let them identify themselves who they are. It is because our girls have not, first of all, known who they are. That is why they just pick anything they see along their life's pathway. Because if a child has actually defined her identity, she'll be able to know that this is not the path I want to travel on. This is not the path I want to travel on. So it is really applaudable. I want to really appreciate the Minister of Women Empowerment.
We, the activists in the space, we are pledging our volunteerism to continue the work to ensure that we have a Cameroon where our girls are living right, where our girls are not exposed to harmful substances online.
The minister has just come out with a one-time communique. If the minister gets away and then the parents are not fully involved, the church is not involved, and there is no coordination by the advocates, how does this go?
We have a lot of gender-based activists who are doing maybe similar works like what I'm doing, coming from the minister who is our boss, we think that if she is the one coming up to with this announcement and with this worry, it is telling us, it's passing a message to us that we need to do more than we have been doing. So the coordination starts from the level of passionate advocates. I want to re-emphasize on passionate advocates, because personally, I grew up in a home where morality was like apt. So I have that burden of seeing girls, especially my kind, living in a moral standard. So I have the passion. So I believe that if we can pinpoint or we can collaborate with those passionate advocates, I call on the church, because I know that there is some morality values that are inculcated, that is being practiced in the church, and the church is trying to fight to ensure that these girls are morally upright. So I think that if we can put hands together, work in this call from the minister, I think that we can go a long way to ensure that these girls are actually living the right kind of life that is expected for a girl.
Are boys not facing the same problems?
Boys are facing the same problem, but not in the same kind of manner as the girls. You agree with me that it is rare to find a naked boy along the street, a boy just wearing innerwear or wearing pants and moving around the streets. But it's always common with our ladies. And also, when we come to online, I don't know, I'm not too sure about what I'm about to say, but I want to believe that maybe the man does not really protect some kind of dignity like that of a woman. You see, recently there was this culture that was going online from the 𝐾𝐿 tribe, and what I observed is that there was not much talk about the men in bare skin, but there was so much talk about the women whose breasts were exposed. So you see that the woman carry a virtue that needs to be covered. A woman carry a kind of moral, a kind of crown that she needs to carry herself as a queen. So when we don't address the girls, because truly your question is really timely, because a lot of people ask me that we educate the girls so much, what about the boys? We are not denying that the boys, they really have issues. They are also really in a web. They are not, there is no balance in their own side. But we want to really look at the girl who is so vulnerable. A guy who has lived anyhow will still get up tomorrow and pick a wife. But you see, sometimes they start tracing, this girl had posted this girl said like this girl behaved like this girl is dressing like this. So you see that the tears fall more in the life of the girl. Like us or not, the girl is vulnerable. The vulnerability of the girl is greater than that of a boy child.
And I was asking about the coordination that is happening around here. I understand you're putting together a conference. Can you tell us about that conference?
All right. That's powerful. A Girl Without Tears conference is a continuation of this book I wrote. The book I wrote was the vision, like we have just talked about, to raise a girl from birth to adulthood. But now, knowing that our girls and our youths, their reading ability is really, really low, and also a book cannot really impact as a physical space. So now, A Girl Without Tears conference is a platform that has been open for us to practicalize the pages that I wrote in the book. So we have brought speakers in the space of advocacy. You see the lineup. The lineup is very powerful. You see, you can find the women in the advocacy platforms. We have brought them together so that these girls can actually be taught. Personally, I believe that knowledge breach a lot of barriers. Knowledge can be a bridge to cross. So I so believe that
In this conference, we have different diverse topics. The girls are going to be taught about their self-esteem, boundaries, how they can break vicious cycles. There will be topics on the pressure, breakthrough, domestic violence, sexual abuse, and a whole lot. And the price tag, what no one can tell them about unhealthy sexual behavior. So this conference is just out to continue to build this girl without tears. Because personally, like you just asked, can there be a girl without tears? We are looking for a girl without tears, and we so believe that if we impact this girl in knowledge, in wisdom, in character, in skill, we can actually find Cameroonian girls who are not living in tears.
Thank you so much. I see the lineup of the speakers and I see some men in there. That means you have some buy-in from men, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this far. Such conferences, empowerment conferences, are always very important, and I encourage you all to make it a point of duty to at least be there, or send your children, your friends, your family members there so they learn these skills. I know you in the conference you've mentioned what you're going to be talking about, and there are ideas about mistakes that girls make. In the book, you say girls' tears are sometimes influenced by the company they keep. Show me your friend and I tell you who you are. Then somewhere else you say, not every information is good and healthy. Wrong choice of literature and social media exposure are some major internal causes of girls' tears. When you counsel girls, do any of them really come and tell you that the main problem they had is from social media?
Yes, I've encountered a whole lot. Recently, there was a girl that came crying. Let me just bring this testimony again. There was a girl that came talking to me and say, Mom, I met one guy on Facebook, and this guy wrote to me, and our friends have told us that if a guy reach out to you, especially on online, you don't know the guy, and you want to just stop the conversation, you just ask the guy for money. So she said she just told the guy that, send me 5K. So when she said like that, the guy now got offended and screenshot her name, because she actually sent her name and her number, and made another post and say, you see these girls, look at them. I just greeted a girl online, and see the girl now has posted, I said I should give her 5K. I just blocked the guy. So the guy went and removed her pictures that she has been posting, and it was really around on Facebook. And she came crying, what should I do, Mom, what should I do? And all of that. I was really limited in resources, what to do, whether to reach the guy. But when I saw the guy was really continuous with his advocacy on blaspheming the girl. So we begin to see that the social media, this girl was depressed for this, and it is because of the social media. These children have not really understood what the social media is all about. When I teach them, I tell them that the streets of the social media is like that dark path road that you are passing at maybe midnight, at an unholy hour. So anybody can come out and hit you, rape you. So when you are moving on the online street, be proactive. Be watchful what you say, watchful what you share. Be very conscious that you are in a path that thieves can come out and hurt you. But this is the knowledge that we are trying to bring out. That is why sometimes in platforms like the conference, because we used to have seminars, we go to schools, we do the advocacy in schools, in churches. So sometimes we have digital platforms where we bring in experts that have to teach them as far as how to navigate. We cannot stop them from using the platforms. We cannot stop them, take their phones away, or ban them not to enter into Facebook. But what they need is education on how to navigate their way through these platforms in order that they should not harm themselves.
Why do you think friends are so influential in the lives of others, especially the young girls.
Yeah, friends are really influential. Sometimes friends speak louder than even parents. And that is why we encourage parents to start speaking to their children early. You know, there is this, especially with girls, there is this competitive spirit, there is this comparison. I want to be like my friend. I want to be like my friend. Let me come again with another story that I got recently from a girl. She was really depressed and she said that I have a problem and I've not been happy for a while. When I asked her what is the problem, she said she's not beautiful. I said, who told her that she's not beautiful? He said, my friend said I don't have nyash. So you begin to see the influence that these girls can have with their peers. So she was really certain about the fact that her friends are more beautiful. She was certain about the fact that her friends are more intelligent than her. And she brought out a lot of things that is really making her almost depressed. So you can see the kind of energy friends have over the girls. They want to be like their friends. No matter what you are telling them, they are doing their comparison and competition amongst their friends. So that is why a girl without tears is calling on girls to choose their friends rightly. Friends who pressure them to the right path, not friends that will pressure them to the wrong path.
So girls without tears actually guides girls to know their value. So if your friend tells you you don't have this or you are this, it doesn't matter. What matters is whom you are, the image God made you in, and the love that your parents have given you. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Knowing your value, building your own standards, having self-confidence in yourself. I mentioned a while ago, a woman is not limited by nature. God did not limit woman. What has limited the woman is the misinformation and the misconception that has been placed on her. I have another book that I wrote. That book call upon girls to build their crowns of self-identity, crowns of self-worth. They should be able to become queens even before they approach the level of dating and marriage. Because unless a girl has crowned herself, that girl will not have self-confidence. So whatever another person is telling her, she will be able to be dissuaded by what another tells her because she has not even understood herself. But when she knows her value, she builds her standard. She's telling the world to meet her up there, not trying to lower her standard to meet the world somewhere.
While building those standards and values, the world is still very powerful and pulls a girl child down. What are some of those red flags that you see that are so difficult for the girls to overcome?
I will still insist on self-identity. Self-identity is because the girl has not built herself. I always tell my girls that if you have not found yourself, don't bother to find another. If you are not prepared, be bold to tell maybe a man approaching you for marriage or whatever that you are not prepared. So some of these red flags is still boiling down to societal acceptance. These girls, they want to meet up with what the society is saying. It is at the age of 20-25, you should get married. So she is trying to meet up with that standard that has been placed by the world. It is so firm. But if a girl knows herself, knows her worth, knows what she wants in life, the world, no matter how strong, no matter how loud the voice of the world is, she will maintain that she is not ready. She will maintain the fact that she is pursuing this and this before marriage.
Tell us a little bit how to maintain that resistance to the voice of the world. What should she be doing to maintain that resistance?
All right. Resilience is one virtue that a girl must carry. And firstly, to maintain that resilience, she should be very knowledgeable about herself, knowledgeable about the expectations of the world, and knowledgeable about the fact that she is who she is, not by the world standards, but according to how God has created her. So if she has all this upbringing and all this understanding, when the world speaks, she will speak louder, because truly it is sometimes really difficult. The world is saying time is passing, even parents, friends, the pressures they come. But for this girl to maintain her standard is for her to always look within her. There is always a voice that is speaking to every human being. So let her be able to be still. I encourage girls in my book to slow down. They should slow down with dating. They should slow down with marriage. They should slow down and focus on their self-building, personal development. We don't give an age for marriage for girls. We give maturity. And how do we count? When do we say that a girl is mature? A girl who has actually matured is a girl that is able to manage her emotional intelligence, financial stability. Today, no guy is ready to settle with a girl that is a liability, that is not having something to do. So for a girl to rush because of societal standards and go and be feeling depressed in the home, it is a whole lot of issues. So that is why the girl must resist these societal pressures. I always tell my girls that marriage would demand more from them. Marriage is not an institution where you go and receive, but it's where you go and give more of you. So if you have not built yourself to overflow, then you will not be able to meet the expectations. And that is why most of our girls at the level of marriage, young wives, they are actually in tears because they have failed to build this the societal pressure lure them to accepting and finding themselves into all of these troubles.
So how should they make the difference between building themselves to be ripe for marriage and building themselves to be a partner in marriage? Because there could be a confusion there.
All right. If you go through my book, I actually brought a full chapter on preparing for marriage. And I looked at it using the 4 W's and H, that is the how, when, where, why marriage, how you prepare for marriage. You know, there is this common ideology. I hear a lot of people saying that marriage is an institution where they give us a marriage certificate. They give us a certificate, that is, they graduate you before you enter into the school. But what I always tell my girls is that there is a kind of misconception there, because it is just like you go to school and you have a certificate. For example, I have a master's degree in English private law. I'm not a lawyer in the field. I have studied law up to master's level. I cannot categorically handle cases like someone who has been practicing. But that does not mean that I already have the knowledge to become a lawyer. So that is where the controversy comes. A girl who has not been certified, that certificate of marriage, in my own perspective, it is that a girl has already learned all the theories, all the character, all the respect, because from home she learns how to love, she learns how to respect, she learns how to be humble, all the submission our men are preaching. If a girl was not submissive back at home, would never submit to any man. We have girls that are insulting their mothers, and you expect the girl to submit to a guy or a husband. So this is where we say that the preparation starts from home. So once a girl has actually prepared herself well from home, then she'll be able to fit in the marital sphere. Now, why marriage? She is now pouring out the abilities that she has learned from home. That's why our mothers used to caution us, if you cannot cook, then you cannot marry. Because that is where you learn it. There is no husband that has that. Few of them, though, can have that patience for you to go back and learn. But the truth is that you are already a failure. You have already failed. So it's like someone who went through school and did not really categorically pass the exams. So that is why the home still remains the anchor. Our homes remain the anchor to prepare us before we ever meet our spouse, to partner with them. Because this partnership, it is not just love in marriage and relationship do not just happen because you met a guy and started feeling something. That is why you see there's a lot of erroneous belief around love. Love starts from home. If you were not able to love your parents, your sibling, like a girl, you were not able to prepare. Like, let me take for myself. I so loved my brothers that I could avoid going out just to cook for them, even double cooking, even when parents were not there, to ensure that they have eaten. And how then will I be able to serve a husband? That starts from home. So because you have developed those virtues, I'm respecting my elder brother so well. So why should I not respect a husband? So that is where all the upbringing comes from. It is like a rehearsal. The home is like a rehearsal. You rehearse all of those virtues, and when you meet a husband, you have learned love, you have learned care, you have learned respect, you have learned submission. But in the absence of all this upbringing, parents are not intentional and the children did not get it at home, it becomes a war. That is why we face the things we face in our marriages.
Is that why you say in the book that love is blind, but marriage is the eye-opener?
Sure. Love is indeed blind, because what most of our youths call love is the erotic love of something they are feeling within them. So that alone is like a curtain. So that is why I say that thing that is blinding you to the reality. The moment you marry is expecting responsibility. There is no more, you are so beautiful and all of that. Those are the things you were hearing during dating and all of that. In marriage, nobody cares so much how beautiful you are. What is needed in marriage is responsibility. A man wants a wife that will respect him. A man wants a wife that will keep the home when he's coming to the home, the children are in order, assignments done, food is ready. So that is the responsibility. So now, that thing you were thinking that is love 247, you now realize that no, it is once in a while. So the marriage itself, those responsibilities are already a kind of a veil that has been torn apart. And now some girls like I remember my kids, like late sister of blessed memory, she used to say they changed my husband after wedding. But actually her husband was not changed. The issue was that she built unrealistic expectations, because during dating the things we go and eat soya, we go to club and all of that. That ends when marriage comes in, because now we are out for real business.
You've mentioned submission, the submission of the girl child, especially in marriage, submission of the wife to the husband. That sounds like the husband is the king and the wife should just submit. Balance this for us, please.
No, actually, submission is mutual. And that is why I talk so much about identity discovery. A girl who has discovered herself, a girl who has been taught, and I anchor so much on teaching the girl. Most of our girls do not know what a healthy relationship looks like. And that is why we now get married and think that that kind of father-daughter obedience is what is expected in marriage. Actually, a girl is supposed to understand what mutual honor is all about, what respect is all about, honesty, accountability for both partners. For both partners, it's not just for the wife alone, but the wife remains the one under the man, in a sense that the man is the head. Traditionally, the man is the head, but that does not give a man a king kind of authority. That's why in my book, A Single Girl's Crown, I tell my girls that you need to be a queen before you meet a king. Because it's very common for us to call the guys my king, my king. But what I ask them, are you a queen? So if you are a queen and meeting a king, then you will co-rule with the king. There will be no kind of disparity of I am up there, somebody is down here. So it is a balanced kind of submission. We are not talking about somebody that is lowered and suppressed. So I call upon girls to understand what healthy relationship is all about. Else, they will misunderstand control for care. Because we have some of our guys are so overwhelming, controlling. But if you have not understood what balanced mutual respect is all about, you would misunderstand that as if it is care. You misunderstand dishonesty, disrespect, as if it is the right thing, which is not the right thing. So in marriage, it's all about mutual honor. When the spouses, they understand accountability, respect for one another, then we'll have healthy relationships.
When you empower the girl child so much and she discovers her identity and gets in there as a ready wife, but the husband has not been empowered, what do you expect that relationship to look like?
I was expecting this question. Like, seriously, let us really face facts. Like, now we want to really be very honest. The truth is that we have over-empowered the girl. And no matter what the guys can say, I know most of them come to my DM, they argue, defend the girl so much. The truth is that our men are lacking. They are lacking a lot. All these conferences we are doing, they are not there. The girls are there. From girlhood, they have empowering themselves. Women conferences, you see women are there. Men are always there looking for their money where they misplaced it. And their empowerment is really lacking. And truly, it is a big challenge. And that is why we see the mishap, the divorces all around. Because the moment this very empowered girl has met a guy who is summarized to like nothing to write home about, the girl starts saying, I will not be here. So it is really an encouragement. Lately, we have been encouraging that men to come up with advocacy on how to try and educate these guys. And what I tell my girls is that in pre-marriage counseling, actually, I encourage even church counselors to do pre-marriage counseling far ahead before these girls meet their purported suitors and spouses to be. Because this is what I tell the girls. Once you meet, you know your identity. The girl knows her identity. She's so powerful. Our girls now are very powerful. She's so powerful. And when she meets a guy that is less her standard, she's going to identify immediately that guy does not meet her standards. That is why, contrary to what some guys say, girls are going to be running behind, girls will be running behind guys. I, as an activist, and for the few girls I have mentored and the opinions they carry, it is that they have their standards and they know what they are looking for in a guy. And if a guy does not meet that standard, oh no, they are not taking it. They are not going there. So it is going to really be an imbalance if we continue to leave the guys aside while empowering the girls so much. So we are also encouraging men's advocacy platforms to come up so that they can also advocate and empower the guys. And I have faced limitations even when I bring the guys together. They are so impatient. They don't want to follow mentorship. They are just, the guy just believe they already know so much. So they are not teachable. Let me just put it, they are not teachable. They are not flexible. They are not bendable. Unlike our girls that you start educating, they really I'm understanding. They are willing to come. Mentorship is not something that you force people to come. It is a mentee that willingly come for mentorship. Like we have the conference, we'll have the girls there. Where are the guys? The guys will not come. So you see, that is where we have a really serious issue of imbalance.
But if the guys don't come, then it is for two reasons, and you have stated them here. The first reason is that all your attention is parents train the girls when they are young. Then the second reason is the book is written entirely for the guy, for the girls. The guy doesn't find himself in your work.
No, for that one is true. I'm actually for the girls. I actually go out to empower the girl child. And that is why I empower the parent. The parent have both the girls and the boy. I'm a mother of 4 boys. I have just a single girl. I have 5 children. 1 is a girl, 4 are boys. So that empowerment is coming to us as the parents. That is why I've called on parents to attend the conference, attend this platform, buy the book. In the book, they will understand how to balance this at home. Now the balance is done at home. Since us in the advocacy space, we have specialized. Because when many people say, I'm doing a bias advocacy, I say, no, in every situation, we must always choose our specialties. No one can do everything. So I have chosen the specialization for girls empowerment. I have lived experience as a girl. I've walked through that path. I know where it hurts. I know where I also, as a lady, I made mistakes. So I can rightly correct a girl. And that is why I call upon even fathers. Fathers should stand up to raise their boy child. I have another book, The Absent Fathers. Fathers are so absent in the lives of their boys. The boys are growing. They cannot build their masculinity. The fathers are leaving the boys still in the hands of the women to grow them up. So that is why you see, if care is not taken, we are just turning in circles as far as the boy child is concerned. We have a boy that has not been mentored, a boy child has not been raised at home, a boy child that will not become a good husband. So it's just a continuity. So if parents can, I really call on parents, if parents can take up and sit into the seats of intentional parenting, I think that will go a long way to heal the limitations that our boys and husbands to be will face in future.
I see men on the poster for this conference, and are you encouraging them to start talking to men? As you've written the book on men, on calling on fathers to be present in their children's lives. Yeah. Did you organize a conference for us fathers to come hear what we need to do?
Let me shock you to say, I approached one man, and it was even someone, an elder in church. I say, I have written a book, The Absent Father, which is calling for the physically present but emotionally absent father, and the father who has left. There is a lot of things I've brought out in that book, which I would like that when they have their men conferences, they should invite me. Do you know what he said? He said, no, they cannot invite a woman in their conference. So I should explain what is in the book. Then he now go and explain to the men. So you see that men are really, they have a lot of bottlenecks. I don't know where this is coming from. So we are really faced with a lot of difficulties, how we can help the men. Because even when God has impressed in our heart to write a book on fathers parenting and their absences and how it's affecting, because the absent father is all about the boy child, how the absence of the father directly affects the boy child, because a woman can only mother her boy. He cannot father the boy, because there is a sense of masculinity that is supposed to be transferred even spiritually. When I look at my daughter, I see a replica of me in everything, but I cannot see that directly in my sons. I am not a man. So we are calling on the fathers, we are calling on men to be able to sit into that shoes of parenting the boy child intentionally. A boy child can only grow and become a man through another man and not through a woman. But it is surprisingly that the men are really limiting us, because I really wanted to attend that conference and talk to the men, but I wasn't given the opportunity. So if we organize, just imagine that organize a platform like this, a conference, men's conference, they will not even come. So that is where we have a lot of issues. So if you, the guys, can start advocating and making your guys to understand that such environments are important for them to upgrade their social interactions and their parenting abilities, it will help us a whole lot.
Keep knocking and the door shall be opened to you.
Amen.
All right, now I want us to start rounding up, but let's focus entirely on this conference. When is it? Who is invited? What are admission formalities?
All right, the conference will be taking place in Yaounde at the Vogue Botanical Garden Zoo on the 7th and the 8th of August. Girls are invited. There is a conference fee of 3,000 and 5,000. The 3,000 fee is for children and teenagers, while the 5,000 fee is for young adults and young wives, mothers, parents, advocates. Advocates are invited. Parents are invited. Religious leaders are invited. Government officials are invited to come and support, see how we can actually grow these girls.
Thank you so much, Madam Nam Eleno, for coming to the Beyond Africa podcast and for sharing your information that is very vital for the upbringing of our girls and boys and making us better parents. Do you have any last word for our viewers?
Okay. The last word I have is to the parents. Whenever I meet parents with young girls, I'm very intentional. And the question that always strikes my mind is this parent intentionally raising this girl? Is this parent having an open conversation with this girl? Because sometimes from observation and my experiences, parents always come in when trouble has come, when the girl is pregnant, when the girl has been abused. But I call upon parents to start these conversations early. Talk about body awareness, talk about boundaries, talk about self-esteem, have those conversations at home. The use of social media, the use of money, all of the mishap we see on social media is a search for money. When to have money, how to manage money, how to invest. So these conversations the child should not get it from outsiders. The child should not get it from strangers. Because if these conversations are not done at home, the world will do the conversations, friends will do the conversations, the media will do the conversations, and obviously the child will not receive it the right way. Because while at home, the parent is growing the child and giving this information age appropriately. Sometimes I see some things that happen in schools and the kind of education small children, toddlers, they receive about sex education. You begin to wonder, it's not age appropriate. So unless a parent has already educated the child perfectly at home, the child will not be able to even understand what the teacher is doing is not correct. So I call upon parents to enter into the seat of intentional parenting. Gone are the days where it was just about provision. Now it is not just about provision, it's not just about punishment. It is about intentionally having conversations, mentoring our children, educating them, exposing them. Today, parents are too protective, are too loving, and they love unto error. And these children can even find themselves in problems because we have not exposed some of those life challenges that they faced. We see it happening in schools. Children are not even able to study today because of the too much pampering at home. So we call upon parents to take their responsibility and do the needful. In that regard, we think that we can have a society of rightly behaved children and girls.
Thank you so much for coming to the Beyond Africa podcast. And I hope more and more parents are going to listen to you, buy your book, read it, and those who are available can attend the conference to learn more from you and your colleagues who have been doing this all along. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this special episode of the Beyond Africa podcast. Once we empower our girl children, we empower the world. Thank you so much and see you in the next episode of the Beyond Africa podcast. Bye-bye. You stay put, please.